The Action Bible, the most epic story ever told, featuring 128 new pages of illustrations for additional and expanded Bible storylines. The Action Bible presents more than 230 fast-paced narratives in chronological order, making it easy to follow the Bible's historical flow, building up to the thrilling climax of God's redemptive story. The enhanced storylines come together in the most complete illustrated Bible ever captured in one book. Every page sparks excitement to explore God's Word and know Him personally. In vivid scenes and simple language, readers of all ages will witness God's active presence in the world through stories from the life of Jesus and great heroes of the faith. Let this blend of dramatic imagery and clear storytelling capture your imagination and instill the truth that invites you to discover your own adventure of life with God. Table of Contents. Old Testament. Creation. Page 17. In the beginning. Based on Genesis chapter 1 and 2. Page 21. Tempted in the garden. Based on Genesis chapter 3. Page 24. Brothers' blood cry. Based on Genesis chapter 4 and 5. Page 30. Rainy days. Based on Genesis chapter 6 and 7. Page 37. A rainbow promise. Based on Genesis chapter 8 through 10. Page 40. A babbling tower. Based on Genesis chapter 11 verses 1 through 9. Page 42. God's wager. Based on the book of Job. Birthright stew. Page 72. The stolen... I skipped a segment. Fathers of Faith. Page 46. God calls Abram. Based on Genesis chapter 11 and 12. Page 50. A lot is too much. Based on Genesis chapter 13. Page 51. Rescue mission. Based on Genesis chapter 14, as well as yay, advertisements. I think by the time I stand up and walk over there, it's going to be done. Take a drink. Also, the book of Hebrews, chapter 7, verses 1 through 3. Page 53. Insufficient sons. Based on Genesis, chapter 15 through 18. Page 57. Destruction of Sodom. Based on Genesis, chapter 19. Page 60. Too many sons. Based on Genesis, chapter 21, verses 1 through 21. Page 64. A father's sacrifice, based on Genesis 22 through 23. Page 68. A wife for Isaac, based on Genesis chapter 24. Page 60. Birthright stew, page 72. Based on Genesis chapters 25-26. Page 75. The stolen blessings. Based on Genesis chapter 27. Page 80. Stairway to Heaven. Based on Genesis chapter 27, verses 41 through chapter 28, verse 22. Broken Trust, page 83, based on Genesis chapter 29. Page 86. Laban, based on Genesis 31. Page 88. Touched by an Angel, based on Genesis chapter 32 through 33. Page 91. Homecoming, based on Genesis 35. The Life of Joseph, page 93. Big Dreams, based on Genesis chapter 37, verses 1 through 11. Page 97. Dreamer for Sale, based on Genesis chapter 37, verses 12 through 36. Page 100. Management Crisis, based on Genesis chapter 39, verses 1 through 20. Page 102. Jailhouse Shock, based on Genesis chapter 39, verses 20 through chapter 41, verse 43. Page 105. Pharaoh's Man, based on Genesis chapter 41, verses 44 through chapter 42, verse 38. Page 109. Bringing Benjamin, based on Genesis 43:44. Page 114. Family Reunion, based on Genesis chapter 45 through 47. Page 116. The End of an Era, based on Genesis chapter 48 through 50. Moses, page 118. Baby in a Basket, based on Exodus chapter 1, verse 1 through chapter 2, verse 10. Page 125. Prince on the Run, based on Exodus chapter 2. Page 129. A Burning Bush, based on Exodus chapter 2, verse 21 through verse 4 through chapter 4, verse 17. Page 133. Spokesman for God, based on Exodus chapter 4, verse 27, through chapter 7, verse 11. Page 137, the plagues, based on Exodus, chapter 7, verse 12, through chapter 10, verse 20. Page 143, the final plague, based on Exodus, chapter 10, verse 21, chapter 12, verse 51. Page 147, 20,000 Egyptians under the sea, based on Exodus, chapter 13, verse 17, through chapter 15, verse 21. Page 155, the complaining begins, based on Exodus, chapter 15, verse 22, through chapter 17, verse 7. Page 160, armed battle, based on Exodus, chapter 17, verses 8 through 16. Page 163, based, good advice, based Exodus chapters 18 through chapter 19. Page 166, a golden calf, based on Exodus chapter 32. Page 172, the tent of meeting, based on Exodus chapter 35 through 40. Page 176, sacrifice and blessing, based on Leviticus and Numbers. Page 178, counting the numbers, based on Numbers chapter 10. Page 179, quail coming out of their noses, based on Numbers chapter 11. Page 183, sibling rivalry, based on Numbers 12. Page 185, spy versus spy, based on Numbers chapter 13, verse 1 through chapter 14, verse 10. A rebellious people, based on Numbers chapter 14, verse 11, verse chapter 16, verse 34. Page 193, 2 strikes you're out, based on Numbers chapter 20, verses 1 through 13. Page 194, the bronze snake, based on Numbers chapter 20, verse 22, verse chapter 21, verse 22. Page 197, the wonderful win against Og, based on Numbers chapter 21, verses 21 through 35. Page 199, a stubborn mule and his donkey, based on Numbers chapter 20 through 24. Joshua, page 201, a new leader, based on Joshua chapter 1. Page 204, the roof of Rahab, based on Joshua chapter 2. Page 208, entering the promised land, based on Joshua chapter 3 through 4. Page 210, the walls of Jericho, based on Joshua chapter 5 through 6. Page 214, the ambush of Ai, based on Joshua 7 through 8. Page 216, stop the sun, based on Joshua chapter 9 through 10. Page 218, the division problem, based on Joshua's chapter 11, verse 1 through chapter 24, verse 18. Page 220, City of Refuge, based on Deuteronomy chapter 19, God's judges. Page 221, Left-handed Judge, based on Judges chapter 1 through 3. Page 224, The Song of Deborah, based on Judges chapter 4 through chapter 5. Page 228. Cowardly Judge, based on Judges chapter 6 through 7. Page 234. God's Enforcer, based on Judges chapter 13 through 14. Page 240. Defying the Philistines, based on Judges chapter 15. Page 244. A Bad Haircut, based on Judges chapter 16, verse 1 through 20. Page 251. Bringing Down the House, based on Judges chapter 16, verse 21 through 30. Page 254. Ruth's Redeemer, based on Ruth. Kings. Page 260. Wake Up Call, based on 1 Samuel chapters 1 through 3. Page 265. Pass the Ark, based on 1 Samuel chapter 4 through 6. Page 269. A Miracle in Mizpah, based on 1 Samuel chapter 7. Page 272. Search for a King, based on 1 Samuel chapter 8 through chapter 10. Page 276. Saul's Bravery, based on 1 Samuel chapter 11 through chapter 12. Page 278. Honeycomb Argument, based on 1 Samuel chapter 13 through 14. Page 282. The Final Strike, based on 1 Samuel chapter 15. Page 284. God's New King, based on 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. Page 288. A Psalming Influence, based on 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 14 to 23, and Psalm chapter 23. Page 290. A Giant Challenge, based on 1 Samuel chapter 17. The Jealous King, 296, based on 1 Samuel chapters 18 through 19. Page 301. A Prince of a Friend, based on 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 18 through chapter 20, verse 42, and Psalm chapter 22. Page 305. The Outlaws of Judah, based on 1 Samuel chapter 21 through chapter 24. Page 312. A Fool and His Wife, based on 1 Samuel chapter 25. Page 316. The Fall of Saul, based on 1 Samuel chapter 26, verse 28 and verse 31. Page 322. Just Rewards, based on 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 1 through chapter 2, verse 7. Page 325. Royal Rivals, based on 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 8 through chapter 3, verse 21. Page 329. Assassinations, based on 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 22, chapter 5, verse 5, page 332, God's New Capital, based on 1 Chronicles chapter 11, verses 4 through 9, page 334, Temple Dreams, based on 1 Chronicles chapter 13 and verses 15 through 17, or chapter, I think it's chapter 13 and chapters 15, and Psalms chapter 96, page 338, David's Sins, based on 2 Samuel chapter 11, page 342, David's Punishment, based on 2 Samuel chapter 12, and Psalms chapter 51, page 349, Battling Brothers, based on 2 Samuel chapter 13, verses 23 through 39, page 352, Scheming Prince, based on 2 Samuel chapter 14, verses 1 through 15. And then, what? Chapter 14, verse 1 through chapter 15, verse 13. Page 357, David's Spies, based on 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 13 through chapter 17, verse 29. Page 363, O Absalom, based on 2 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1 through chapter 19, verse 15. Page 368. I should have drank like a Red Bull before this. I'm about to fall asleep. I'm so tired. Why is it that when I want to go to sleep, insomnia is an issue, but it's like, oh, I'm reading something. Oh, now let's go to bed, I guess. I'm at least going to read some of this, but first I have to get through the table of contents. I haven't even actually started reading the book. Page 368. Family Plots, based on 1 Kings chapter 1. Page 372. The Death of God's King, based on Psalms, I guess all of it, and 2 Samuel chapter 23. Page 373, Solomon's Wisdom, based on 1 Kings chapter 3. Page 377, Psalms Proverbs, based on Proverbs. Page 378, Solomon's Seasons, based on Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Page 379, Solomon's Temple, based on 1 Kings chapter 5 through chapter 9. Page 384, Foreign Fame, based on 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 1 through chapter 11, verse 8. Page 387, From Wisdom to Folly, based on 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 29 to 43. Page 390, A Kingdom Torn in Two, based on 1 Kings chapter 12, verses 1 through 24. Page 393, A Bad Start for Israel, based on 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 25 through chapter 14, verse 20. The Prophets, page 396, The Wicked Queen, and the Defiant Prophet, based on 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 12, chapter 17, chapter 16, verse 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 29 through chapter 17, verse 6. Page 400, Elijah's Flower Power. Just so you're clear, it's spelled flower F-L-O-U-R, since they're probably talking about that thing where, he was with the widow and her son, and basically making infinite pancakes and cake. Yes, I know they don't describe the bread that way, but I'm hungry. I should make pancakes. Who else thinks I should cook pancakes? Type pancakes down below if I should cook pancakes. So what? I don't know. Sorry, I spaced out. Elijah's Flower Power, based on 1 Kings, chapter 17 through verses 7 through 24. Page 402, Battle of the Gods, based on 1 Kings, chapter 18. Page 408, The Sound of Silence, based on 1 Kings, chapter 19, verses 1 through 18. Page 412. Passing the Mantle, based on 1 Kings, chapter 19, verse 19 through 21. Page 414. The Grapes of Envy, based on 1 Kings, chapter 21. Page 417. A Bad Disguise, based on 1 Kings, chapter 22. Page 420. Chariots of Fire, based on 2 Kings, chapter 2, verses 1 through 18. Page 423. A Rash of Miracles, based on 2 Kings chapter 2, chapter 4, and chapter 6. Page 426. A Miracle for a Rash, based on 2 Kings chapter 5. Page 430. Invisible Army, based on 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 8 through 23. Page 433. Lepers Under Siege, based on 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 24, verses chapter 7, verse 16. Page 438. Anointed Jehu, Painted Jezebel, based on 2 Kings chapter 9. Page 443. The Queen's Plot, based on 2 Chronicles chapter 22, verses 10 through 12. Page 446. The Boy King of Judah, based on 2 King Chronicles chapter 23. Page 449. Dagger in the Night, based on 2 Chronicles chapter 24, verses 17 through 27. Page 451. A Fish Story, based on Jonah. Page 456. 4 Prophets, based on Hosea, Amos, Joel, and Micah. Page 457. Is that a fucking aboleth? Like, I understand we have pictures here, and that's supposed to be like the whale devouring Joseph. I get that. That is not a whale. That is a picture of a fucking aboleth from Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I'm looking down at the table of contents. Like, technically we're at page 11 of this book. And, like, below, like, so far, like, yeah, pictures here, like, like, go back, we have, like, pictures of the Ark, yeah, I see Samson, carrying, a whole fucking gate, because he ripped it off of a fucking wall. Though some of those stories are interesting, like you guys know about the thing where he beat the shit out of a fucking lion, and then he came back and like weeks later, and the bees were building a beehive in the lion, so he scooped blood honey out of the lion, and then he ate it, and then he was feeding it to everybody because it was delicious, which apparently that's apparently supposed to be nutritious, but I don't think I want honey mixed with blood. That sounds like something out of the Death Mark video game with Shimio. No, I think I've said before, that's kind of like... I've described my personality as the Dragon Ball Z Potara fusion of Sailor Moon and Yusuke Urameshi, or the Potara fusion of Astolfo and Jack Hanma, or the Potara fusion of Chrono from Soul Eater, and Vash Stampede from Trigun, or a fusion of Stein from Soul Eater and Nagisa from Assassination Classroom. Or, say, Shinji from Evangelion and Zelos Metallium from Slayers. Heck, the list could go on. But as far as what I actually look like underneath the black cloak, Shimio. Shimi-O from the game Deathmark. There's also the Venus or Cacophobia boss from the Fiend Folio mod for Binding of Isaac Repentance. There's also Saya, particularly the Sayonara scene from Doki Doki Literature Club, or Lavos from Chrono Trigger. Those last four are what I actually look like underneath the cloak. Then again, you could also just say I look like the guy from the Renapal movie, or I'm Jason Voorhees, or like I'm Hannibal Lecter, but I just have a bunch of posters of anime behind me. I don't know why I'm on this topic. That's another Potara Fusion personality thing. I am the Potara Fusion personality of Ernest, the Jim Varney guy, mixed with the Cable guy by Jim Carrey. Or I have the personality of Testament from Guilty Gear Strive, fused with Vegeta. But yeah, like I said, most accurately though would be I am Krona from Soul Eater, fused with Vash the Stampede from Trigun. I am Nagisa from Assassination Classroom, fused with Stein from Soul Eater. I am Astolfo, fused with Jack Hanma. I am the Dragon Ball Z Potara earring fusion of Yusuke Urameshi and Sailor Moon. But physically, I am an Eldritch Horror. So. But yeah. But at least personality-wise, I'm those fusions. Forget why I went off on this tangent. Why can I not stay focused on one subject for too long? Like Noah's Ark, we got the Moses and the flood, you got Samson carrying a door, you got Goliath, you got Lion, you see David over there, you see Elijah in his chariot of fire going up to God, and then it's a fucking aboleth! Okay, go out and buy the Action Bible, and then go to page 11, you're still in the table of contents, and tell me that is not a fucking aboleth. Granted, I understand I have the 3.5 edition of Dungeons & Dragons, so maybe you don't see... How about this? In the next video, regardless of what book I read, because I probably won't be back to the Pokemon book, and I probably won't go back to this one, I'm probably just I don't know if I'll read through these books. I'll at least read through them all on my own. But I'll at least read some of this. I got to finish table of contents, and I'll at least... I mean, they're divided into segments. Like, there's the, creation part. Then it has, looks like 7 things on pages 17, 21, 24, 30, 37, 40, and 42. Okay, that's still up to 42 pages. I don't know if I'll even make it that far. And then, of course, we got Fathers in Faith, which is like a couple dozen things. Life of Joseph's like a dozen. Moses, like a couple, triple dozen. A triple dozen. It's not a fucking number, you dumbass. And Joshua's like 7 or 8. God's Judges like 9. Kings is... It's like 50 fucking stories. Prophets were in the middle of before I got distracted by a Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, great, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the artistic license that you have taken in drawing this. Who knows? Maybe it actually look like that. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if actual fucking aboliths existed. Hell. Granted, it'd be a relief. Like, it's kind of like Final Fantasy. There's like, oh, look at all these fascinating monsters and stuff. Like, yeah. Like, here's the thing. I think it'd be really cool to, like, look at the, video games. Like, say, take Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6. Each of those stories. Particularly the backgrounds in those places. Now imagine those drawn as giant posters with like high def, either PlayStation 5 level graphics or actual real world representation of it. Main point being, wouldn't that be awesome if you just had like all the really cool backgrounds in all the different video games that were just like the amazing backgrounds? Like, heck, just the little cutscenes that you had, even a couple times there's just a couple scenes, clips, like say Final Fantasy VIII, when you saw that little glimpse of the Balaam Garden and you had the nice, cool, awesome music, because all that music was fucking awesome. You had Nobuo Uematsu doing all the incredible music for Final Fantasy, amazing soundtracks, bangers one after another, and then of course you have Bruce Faulkner with all the American, Dragon Ball Z soundtrack, which of course, granted, don't be wrong, there's different variations of music soundtracks, different people did different things, and of course the original Japanese music is very, very different. Almost sounds kind of like, I don't know, more like the Ibuki sort of stuff. That's kind of like what it reminds me of, that style of music, which, it's interesting, and it still fits, but of course I grew up with the Bruce Faulkner stuff, and of course I've listened to multiple different dubs, but I have the Bruce Faulkner DVD, the CDs, the soundtrack of DBZ. It's fucking awesome. I remember doing like calculus homework while listening to Vegeta's training music. Great, I can't remember any of that shit anymore. I can barely do basic math anymore. I am dumber than I used to be. But hey, whatever. It's not like I need to use that stuff, and it's not like I really could relearn it anyway. Not that it would actually benefit me. Main point being is, I'm nerd. That's it. I'm a weeb and a nerd and all that bullshit. I like listening to anime and video game soundtracks. But I don't remember what I'm talking about. Oh, right! Amazing backgrounds in games. That'd be awesome. Just look at the different... Granted, I like character designs. Like, just imagine if there were giant posters like, say, Zidane, or Squall, or Cloud, or the different magic spells, or the attack scenes, or you seeing, like, just... I like art, okay? And music. And it's just, you imagine the background, like... Oh, imagine if that was in VR! Imagine if there was a game. That it wasn't even a game. Like, it doesn't even have to be a game. There's no game mechanics. It's basically just a walking simulator, guys. What it is, imagine, like, you had... Take Final Fantasy VIII, where you could just walk around. It's a virtual reality game, and everything's like the highest graphics. It looks fucking amazing, and it's fully 3D and everything. Like, I don't know about that, but basically whatever VR works. I've never used VR shit, but imagine like VR, like maybe a few steps above like the level of the VR chat stuff that I've seen on YouTube, but like good VR. And, like, it's just, there's no combat. Heck, maybe this could be like the next evolution of VR chat. Whoever currently owns Final Fantasy, make like its own separate thing like VR chat, and it's just the world of Final Fantasy. And you don't do anything. You just walk around and you talk to people. And of course, here's the thing. People say, oh, what about the restrictions of what people look like? Okay, here's what you do. First off, no one under the age of 18 is allowed to be on the thing. You know, you have to verify. You don't have to verify identity because you don't want people, you know, just. I mean, it's the internet. I mean, it's not you're going to go around. You know, I mean. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, just people under the age of 18 shouldn't even be on the internet. But I'm just saying, you shouldn't, like, it should. I mean, granted, people could just change the age settings on that. Heck, I remember a lot of times where I've just set it to, like, where I was born in 1901 because I can't be bothered to, like, oh, what age do I have to be in order to play a game? Fuck that. I'm 100 years old. I'm fucking Gandalf. I feel like it. My knees hurt all the time. My back, my rotator cuffs, everything fucking hurts, and I'm tired all the time. But I got distracted. I'm sorry. Main point is, like, imagine if there was a VR world and you walk around and it's in VR and, like, it's like the VR chat thing. I'm just saying this. I don't like censorship, but at the same time, I understand it in some circumstances. Main point is, I don't know what I'm trying to fucking say. I'm just saying, I want people to be able to express themselves and talk freely and be able to look like whatever they want to look like. Like, if you want to look like Naruto wearing, like, Goku's Yardrat armor from Dragon Ball Z, why not? You know, I mean, granted, there's some cool stuff people can do with mods. Like, oh, look at me, I have 12 heads. Which one's talking to you? Who knows? Then again, there are people that use mods, like, they'll look around and try to scare people with, like, the jump scare netbox stuff, and it actually is. I'm an asshole, because you watch the person, like, jump through walls using those kind of cheats, and then you just hear the other people just scream in fear, like, oh, God! And it's like, what the fuck was that? And it's like, or they become, like, a giant spider, and they're, like, walking on the walls and the ceiling, and everyone's freaking the fuck out. I'm a horrible person, but it's hilarious. It's kind of like those, like, I would definitely strongly echo, like, what they say at the beginning of the Jackass movie, that, you know, the following said, you know, I wouldn't say Steve-O's a professional, or Johnny Knoxville, but I'm just saying, I would not ever attempt those things. And I would strongly suggest nobody in the world ever attempt those things. But it would be lying to say I wasn't laughing my ass off as they were doing stuff that was probably extraordinarily dangerous and obscenely painful. Johnny Knoxville, if you're listening to this, I once made a video where I drank your hot sauce. It actually was really good. Though it was awkward at the bathroom later. Just because, you know, one of the ingredients in there is carrots for some reason. Which I know everyone's thinking, that's kind of weird. Or is it Steve-O? I think it's Steve-O's hot sauce. Whatever, I'm sure they both, like, ate that hot sauce themselves. I don't know. I think it's Steve-O's hot. It was like Steve-O's hot sauce to your butthole or something like that. I remember chugging some of that. Hell, I remember pouring some of it into V8 and stirring it into my V8. Yes, sometimes I stir hot sauce into V8. I'm a monster, okay? What do you expect? Just saying, that was a good hot sauce. Oh, I remember that one UFC hot sauce. I forget what it was called. Some sort of Louisiana type thing. But it was like the official hot sauce of UFC. Oh, that was delicious. It was just the right amount of spice, too. Like, any spicier, it would have been too spicy. But just the limit of how spicy it should be. But the flavor was so good. Okay, I like hot sauce. I also like chocolate, but I don't like them together. Because if you put hot sauce and chocolate together, you have fucking ruined them. Like, I like spicy foods. I like chocolate, but I don't like them together because those tastes are horrible together. They taste great individually, but not together. I'm really losing track of the conversation here, guys. I once tried to do a movie review of Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. I call it a Daniel Stern Bullet Train. And I maybe spent 5% of that video actually talking about the movie. I don't have ADHD, okay? I don't. I just sometimes talk about things and then start on to other things and then forget what the fuck I was talking about. And I really do need like a little flying navy with a whiteboard to point to a diagram to like show me like where I've been talking so I can like it's like I have a train and I have 8 different trains of thought. I'm a little train and I have 8 train tracks and I can't fucking stay on any of them. So I really don't fuck yeah, oh no. Might get some KFC later. That sounds like a great idea. We gotta finish the book first. I'm not reading the whole goddamn book. Not right now, anyway. I'm already out of breath reading the fucking table of contents. Dear goodness. How much longer is the table of contents? I haven't even started reading the book. How many more pages is just the table of contents? Dear, oh my god. It's 46 minutes. We have read 1/3 of the table of contents. I at least want to finish the table of contents and do the part that is the creation part. That would be In the Beginning, Temple of the Garden, Brothers Blood Cry, Rainy Days, A Rainbow Promise, Babbling Tower, God's Wager. Want to at least read some of the actual book. But I have finished the table of contents. But now that we're back here, I'm looking... Again, I don't know what page it is on the Dungeon Dragon book. Granted, it's not too far away. It's the first monster entry in the Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual. And like I said, my Dungeon and Dragon book, I have Dungeons and Dragons Monumental Player Handbook, Dungeon Master Guide, but it's the 3.5 edition. And I'll tell you this, I know the first edition, the second edition, third edition, 3.5 edition, 4th edition, and 5th edition. And I believe 5th edition is currently a thing. And I don't know if there'll ever be a 6th edition. I don't know what's going on with that. I know 4th edition had a bunch of weird, wanky rules. And 3 was like, and 2nd was like, had those stuff attributes and shit. All I'll say is this. Play the version that you like the best. But if you're just getting into Dungeons & Dragons and you have never played it ever, honestly, I just strongly suggest use 3.5. Use 3.5 if you have access to it. If you don't, again, I mean, a lot of people have their own house rules too. I mean, heck, you can just start like writing in stuff in Pokemon games as part of your have fun, be creative. After all, there's 2 different ways to really focus on a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. You can either focus entirely on the combat and the numbers, and you're just trying to get your experience points and level up and min-max and do this and complete a quest. Or you can do role play and expand the story and just try to explore the world. And of course, as the dungeon master, you can be creative and make more of a world. And the players, you can try to have fun with that. Heck, I remember there's a channel called Puff and Forrest. He makes a bunch of little funny videos talking about really hilarious sketches with the stuff. It's like, Captain Morgan! And it's like, you have blessed the cocaine. You now have a cocaine sword. Always trust the cocaine. Which, I've never done cocaine. It would probably be a really bad idea. It's probably not healthy for you. Pretty sure that stuff's very addictive. And probably illegal still. Pretty sure it's still illegal. Right? Imagine if it, I'm pretty sure you can't just go to Walmart and buy cocaine. You just go to, aisle 11, where they sell the cigarettes and shit. Yeah! Right next to the Marlboros. Just the... What? If you actually sold cocaine at Walmart, what would you package it in? It's probably best it's still illegal. Just because that stuff would be very addictive, and I'm pretty sure the possibility of people accidentally killing themselves with it would be really bad. Oh, the song Snowblind by, I think Black Sabbath originally did a song called Snowblind, which is an awesome song, but it's technically about cocaine. But, like I said, I've never done cocaine. Heck, I've never smoked anything in my life. I've never smoked weed or cigarettes or anything. But I like music that's usually associated with that stuff, which is like, Black Sabbath, Sublime, Pink Floyd. It's good music. Hell, so much of Tool and Korn and System Down, Disturbed, it's like so many of the songs are written about illicit substances, but it's really good music. Hey, you guys remember the band Boba Flex? I've seen those guys in concert a few times. I actually did mosh pits. I was in several. I think I've been at least 4 Boba Flex concerts, 4 or 5 of them, and I was like in a mosh pit like the whole damn time. Awesome music. I'll say this, also never get in a mosh pit ever again because my knees would... Like, here's the thing. My knees hurt right now. I don't want to get in a mosh pit. I'm already in pain. What the fuck am I talking about? I think I was talking about the band Perfect Circle. A Perfect Circle is also, it's got ties to Korn. Not Korn. Tool. The band Tool. Though there's Linkin Park. And, Chester Bennington, he was also he was good friends with I can't remember the guy from Infected Mushroom. But yeah, the guy from Infected Mushroom, Chester Bennington was like really good friends with him. But they wrote songs with each other and did crossovers and references. Though there was a song with Infected Mushroom where Jonathan Davis from Korn was actually a guest singer. Then again, I really like the Psy guy from the South Korean K-pop star. He does songs called Gangnam Style and Mother, Father, Gentleman and Daddy and New Face and I Love It. And here's the thing: one, the music's the choreography. The music lyrics are written really well, as well as when you... Not only does the sound of the songs, like the way the lyrics are the words, it sounds good. Also, he sings it well, and the actual translations of it are also a really good song, and the production of the video is really cool, and also just the choreography is awesome. And I did my best to try to learn how to do those dances, and oh my god. One, it's a lot harder than it looks. It's really complicated. It's kind of confusing. And you get so out of breath trying to do it. It's so exhausting. Then again, I'm a defect. So I just don't think, human bodies are made the way they used to. Or at least after they made me, they decided, let's just destroy that mold because this one's a failure. But hey! Yeah, I'm used to being a failure, I guess, so you think that would stop hurting my feelings. But it doesn't, so yeah, I don't know what the appropriate response for that is other than just, fuck. But there's also another song, he did the Psy Dude, he did a song with Snoop Dogg called Hangover, where they're just, taking shots and doing karaoke and stuff. Probably not living a very healthy lifestyle. Don't remember what the fuck we're talking about, guys. I know it had something to do with Dungeons & Dragons, because, we have this action Bible book where there's, I understand it's a whale eating Jonah. But this is not a picture of a whale. This is a picture of a very large aboleth. This does not look like a whale. This looks like an aboleth. Artist who drew this. You drew an aboleth from Dungeons and Dragons. That's what you drew. You didn't draw a whale. Again, I think it's awesome though. I think it's awesome. It's you could have just outlined a fucking goldfish cracker and called it a day. Instead, you fucking dialed it up to 11 with being really good at drawing, but you didn't draw a whale. But it's fucking awesome. So you drew a giant ass fucking aboleth, and it looks cool. Okay, I really should try to finish reading the book. Or at least start reading the book. But first we have to read infinity more pages of a fucking table of contents before we can read the book. Fuck! I don't remember where I was. See what's... Trying to remember where we were. Oh, right, I was toward the bottom of this section here, and then that's when I just sort of noticed the fucking aboleth! God damn! Okay. Page 457, A Burning Coal, based on Isaiah chapter 6. Page 459, Hezekiah's Healing, based on chapter 2. Based on 2 Kings chapter 17, verses 1 through 18, verse 16, chapter 20. Fuck. Page 463, Insults and Prophecies, based on 2 Kings, chapter 18, verse 17, verses through chapter 19, verse 37. Fuck. Also Isaiah. I'm spitting all over this book. Isaiah chapter 52, verse 13. Chapter 53, verse 12. Also the book of Nahum. Also Isaiah chapter 53. A prophecy. Okay. Page 468. A Righteous King and a Reluctant Prophet. Based on 2 Chronicles chapter 34 through chapter 35. Book of Jeremiah chapter 1 and Zephaniah. Page 471. Why do bad things happen to good people? Based on 2 Kings chapter 23 to chapter 24, Habakkuk. Page 473, Unpopular Prophecies, based on Jeremiah. Page 478, Ezekiel's Exile, based on Ezekiel and Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 1 through 14. Page 483, The Yoke of Jeremiah, on Jeremiah, based on Jeremiah, chapter 27, verses 37 through 38. Page 488, Jerusalem Falls, based on Jeremiah, chapter 34, chapter 44, 2 Kings, chapter 25, Lamentations, and Obadiah. I'm going to get some KFC after I finish this video. Alright, I was thinking about using a picture of Aboleth from Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 for whatever I do next. Maybe Spider-Man? How would Spider-Man do in the Dungeons & Dragons world? How would Spider-Man do against an Aboleth? Oh, how would Deadpool do against Aboleth? Since Aboleths can read minds. Imagine like Deadpool runs into a bunch of Aboleths and they try to read Deadpool's mind. I don't know. Would Spider Sense work on an Aboleth? Asking the real questions. Okay. Exiles, eat your vegetables. Page 492. You guys remember VeggieTales? Based on Daniel chapter 1. Page 495, A Deadly Dream, based on Daniel 2. Page 498, Facing the Heat, based on Daniel chapter 3. Page 502, The Four Beasts from Below, based on Daniel 7. Page 503, The Writing on the Wall, based on Daniel 5. Page 506, Lion Taming, Daniel 6. Page 511, Pair of Queens, Esther, chapters 1 and 2, Stuff. Page 516, Persian Politics, Esther, chapter 2 and 3. Page 520, If I Perish, I Perish, Esther 4. Page 522, Who Will Be Hanged, Esther 5, chapter 5 through 10. Page 528, Ezra, chapter 1 through 3, Isaiah 45, Captain's Return. Page 531, The Temple Troubles, based on Ezra, chapter 4 through 6, Haggai, and Zechariah. Page 534, Enter Ezra, based on Ezra's, chapter 7 through 10. Page 535, Wall Warriors, based on Nehemiah. Page 538, Women of the Old Testament, based on Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Judges, 2 Kings, Esther, and Hebrews. Page 540, The Final Prophet, based on Malachi. Page 540, Years of Waiting, between the Old Testament and the New Testament. New Testament, Jesus' Birth and Ministry, page 546, The Life of Jesus, based on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Page 548, When in Rome, based on Matthew 5:41. Page 550, Angel Promises, based on Luke chapter 1, verses 5 through 56. Page 556, Birth of a Prophet, based on Luke chapter 1, 57 through 80. Page 558, Mary and Joseph, based on Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 through 25. Page 560, Birth of a Savior, based on Matthew chapter 1, verse 18 through chapter 2, verse 11. Luke chapter 2, verse 1 through 20. Page 566, Simeon and Anna, based Luke chapter 2, 21 through 38. Page 570, Magi from the East, Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 through 11. Page 572, Flight in the Night, based on Matthew chapter 2, verse 12 through 18. A Boy in the Temple, based on Matthew chapter 2, 19 through 23. Page 576. Page 579, Baptized, based, Boy in the Matthew 2, 19, 23, Luke 2, 39, 52. Baptized, Luke 3, Matthew 3. Page 582, Tempted in the Desert, based on Luke chapter 4, verse 1 through 13, and Matthew chapter 4, verse 1 through 11. Page 586, Calling on the 12, based on Luke chapter 5, verses 1 through 11, Matthew chapter 9, verse 9 through 13, chapter 10, verse 1 through 8, John chapter 1, verse 35 through 51. Page 592, The Wedding Saver, based on John chapter 2, verse 1 through 13. Page 595, Miracles from New Beginnings, based on Mark chapter 7, verse 31 through 17. Luke chapter 7, Luke chapter 11, Luke chapter Luke, verse 11, verse Luke 15. Page 598, Born Twice, Bane on Bane. I remember the very first time I tried to make a karaoke video, I wasn't even planning to post on YouTube, and then I think I was monotone and deaf to auto. I think it's called tone deaf and monotone. It's a couple years ago, but the first 17 minutes of it was a black screen because I wasn't even planning on uploading it. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will upload this. I'm having fun with it. And I'm looking at I got to pick out what a background is. And I'm like, oh, how long have I been doing? Oh, 17 minutes. 17 minutes of darkness. And then I did a bunch of Bane voice acting. And then I started being Obi-Wan and Anakin from Star Wars. And I was calling Anakin a simp lord. And I think my Obi-Wan voice acting was the worst. I was trying to sound like people, but it was really, really bad. My singing was bad, but my voice acting was terrible. It's far worse. Then again, I will say this. I have 2,500 videos on YouTube. A few videos I've had to delete, and some I've had to edit because of YouTube's guidelines, I guess. And then, of course, I've at least made a couple hundred videos that I just never uploaded to YouTube because I either got too personal or too emotional and stuff, and got really upset. There's one video I made that was close to 14 hours long. And granted, I think hours 3 through 9 of that were just me screaming and crying. So I did get very personal and emotional in that. Heck, I think by hour 6.5, I was screaming and laughing at the same time. Which, definitely, I deleted that. Granted, there's a couple times where I've laughed and cried simultaneously a little bit, but it was always slightly lighthearted and wasn't really all that. The professional reading video or my paradox video. But at least that was still lighthearted and just slightly silly, and I wasn't really that emotionally upset because it was just me just either laughing about something silly or at least reacting to a sad thing in a video game. Whereas opposed in the 14-hour video, which I think I did have a tiny snippet of that in Terrible Karaoke 7, but it's just the parts that it was just 17 minutes out of a 14-hour video, I think. But the part where I was laughing while at screaming volumes, that was kind of depressing to re-listen to, so I just didn't want to ever hear that again. Then again, I mean, I did that for a while, but like I said, around enough of that, because apparently you can't, like, scream and cry for, like, 7 hours. Like I said, it was 14 hours, but at least, like, hours 3 through 9 at least was just... It was just me screaming and crying and tears being everywhere. But apparently, like, after you do that enough, like, I guess the human body freaks out about that. Like, apparently human bodies don't like that. So, I think it was around close to, like, it's definitely 6.5 that I was, like, full-on screaming, laughing. Which, looking back, maybe if I had saved it, I could have used it part, like, if I made a horror game or something. I don't know, it was just really... At least the other laugh, scream, cry. Because, like, I'll sometimes make some videos, like, it's good to vent about stuff. Plus, I want other people to at least feel encouraged to talk about their feelings and emotions, because I'm a depressed person, and talking about things makes me feel better, but I want to, like, encourage other people, like, if anything, like, this is a Let's Play channel that wants to focus on comedy, but it's me just doing whatever the fuck I feel like, but I also want to, like, encourage people to, like, if you are depressed, find ways to express yourself as long as they don't involve you hurting yourself or anyone else, but that it's good to be able to express your feelings. Now, of course, if there's things you can do to make your life better, like usually with depression, like, you know, going to the gym is very helpful. I would strongly suggest that. Though, just be careful, I don't want you to get hurt. But, or like play a guitar, or work on a skill, or try to learn a language, or, granted, I'm terrible and I'm a failure and everything, but hey, it's still good to try to learn. But yeah, like if you are feeling down, I would suggest, hey, what are you eating? How much are you sleeping? Are you in bad situations where you're getting mistreated? I would definitely strongly suggest going to the gym. But above all, I would say be nicer to yourself. Try to understand where you're coming from on stuff. And I'd say it's good to be able to voice your emotions and express your feelings. It should at least make you feel better. Heck, if you just feel like just sitting in a dark room with a fan on and lay there listening to nightcore music and crying, I mean, it'll release some endorphins, and it'll make you feel better, plus it lets you vent those emotions and helps you to better function as a, functioning member of society. Like, there's nothing wrong with having emotions, and just having certain emotions doesn't make you a bad person. But, of course, if you're having trouble coping with things, at least expressing those emotions can be a way to help you. Though, of course, I would also strongly suggest, say, seeing a doctor or a therapist, or talking to your friends, family, or if you have any loved ones. But, I don't know, I guess part of me is like, I just want to be able to express myself, and maybe if other people feel depressed, maybe they can identify with my own thoughts and feelings, or, maybe it'll encourage, it's like this karaoke. I'm terrible at singing, but I enjoy singing, and heck, if other people hear me at least trying to sing, even though I'm god-awful, maybe it'll encourage them to, like, hey, at least I can't be as bad as Lunar, and, you'll sing, and that's the point. Like, you hear me voicing my thoughts and feelings, and maybe it'll encourage you to also talk about your thoughts and feelings, even if it's just pacing around your living room, or walking down a bike trail listening to an MP3 player. Even if you're not talking to anyone, at least exploring what your feelings are and why you feel that way. And you can also explore possible solutions. But beyond that, you're at least trying to understand yourself better and why you feel the way you do. And now what really comes of that, I don't know. But I mean, it'd probably make you feel better and at least let you try to think of ways to either improve your life in some way. It can also help you to have more empathy and understanding for others. Heck, if anything, even if a person listening to this isn't depressed or anything, at least, everyone could use being able to talk about whatever feelings or emotions they have. Beyond that, I do want to encourage people to improve their mental health and to at least care about people's mental health. Heck, if I was an advocate for anything, I'm an advocate for mental health awareness and mental health improvement. And if my own emotions being expressed, I mean, if nothing else, it at least, I mean, like, I don't cry in front of people unless it's been a situation where I was, physically injured or people were dead, at which point, I was really, really sad. I mean, that's understandable. People are dead. You can cry. That's understandable. Now, granted, I understand there's people out there that have varying definitions of, when it's okay to cry. And, of course, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, whenever you feel it's appropriate for you. You should do it whenever you want. But, of course, you should understand that there's a time and place for things, and some people, either don't care or will actually act they hate you. So, obviously, you should, cry in private places most time, but, you should feel comfortable to express yourself to other people, but, of course, keep in mind such a thing would be emotionally draining to another person, so you don't want to overwhelm them. Plus, well, let's be clear, some people may view you differently depending on how you express yourself. And also, again, back to the overwhelming thing. If you're like crying, granted, yeah, even if they do love and care about you, there's probably only so much that they can handle before they get, just overwhelmed. I mean, either they'll get annoyed or they'll be overly upset themselves over, what's going on with you. Like, say they really care about you, then maybe they're going to get too upset and, maybe they might have a heart attack out of concern or something. I don't know. I don't know how shit works, and I don't have, don't really trust advice from random crazy guy on the internet, because that's what I am. I'm just a random crazy guy on the internet rambling. But just saying, you should talk to family members and friends and loved ones and people that care about you. But for the most part, I would suggest most of it to be, and again, I guess doctors and therapists, if you have those, depending on if you're rich enough to do that. But I'd say it's just good to, explore your own thoughts and feelings and try to understand yourself better. And like I said, if you are depressed, cry, play an instrument, play a fun video game, watch some cool anime. Heck, I suggest Overlord, that's a great anime. Or Reincarnate as a Slime. Or heck, read Berserker Gluttony. Not the Berserker Guts. It's good. The story of Guts and Griffith, it's a good story. It's just probably not good if you're depressed. Because there are a couple violent spots in the Berserk story of Guts. Like there's a little bit of gore and a couple dark, suggestive scenes. So probably not best if you're depressed, maybe. But it's amazing art. And it's a great story. Great characters. Well, they're not good. Some of them are really bad people. Good character concepts for the sake of a story. It's kind of like Final Fantasy VIII. A lot of the monsters in the game look fucking awesome. But if you're in their real life, that would be the apocalypse. Like, imagine if they were like horses with actual fucking chainsaw blades on them, or a fucking dragon turtle the size of, like, a school building or a house. Or mosquitoes the size of horses. Like, the only people that are happy, and even then, and like, heck, the training grounds at Balaam Garden, there's a full-grown fucking T-Rex. I'm pretty sure even a baby T-Rex would be able to kill an average human. And of course, then you have like the Venus flytrap plants that are actually capable of eating people, and like, I don't think humans would survive such a world. It's cool. Monsters, it's like Dungeons and Dragons. They look cool, but if they actually existed, it'd be like really terrifying world to live in. So it's like, it's a cool story to read. It'd be a terrible place to live. Then again, be like, oh, what's so bad about Dungeons and Dragons? Well, there's no anime here. There's no air conditioning. There's no ice cold Pepsi. Just saying, I like the air conditioning, and I like the anime. I don't remember what we're talking about, guys. Right, the emotion stuff. I'm just saying, yeah, be careful who you trust with that, but at the same time, again, if you can afford a doctor or a therapist, I strongly suggest that. And like I said, listen to music, play music, draw, play a video game, go to the gym. All really good suggestions. But main thing is you should just, if anything, talk with yourself. Explore your own thoughts and feelings. Talk to yourself, like looking at it from a critical thinking, critical analysis of like situations that upset you or how you feel about it, and just try to understand yourself. Try to understand why you think and feel certain ways. And you might come with solutions, but regardless if you get a solution or not, it would probably make you feel better. And heck, like I said, part of the reason we do this is like a lot of people don't like acknowledge that people actually have certain emotions. So if anything, it's just an issue of the validation that my emotions are real. I do have emotions. I'm not a damn robot. I care about a lot of things, and some things, make me happy, make me sad, make me scared, make me angry, make me lonely, make me excited, make me curious. I have lots of varying emotions on a lot of things. You guys can hear me doing the thing with the book. Like, ooh, flippy the pages. But, yeah, if anything, just acknowledgement that my emotions are real and they actually matter. My feelings have value. I matter. But I don't know. I should get back to the book. Where was I? Alright, I was saying the thing about the screaming. Yeah, like I said, I want to be careful because I did that one 14-hour video, and like I said, didn't upload that, and I don't think I could physically handle that again, but like I said, I spent at least like 6 or 7 hours straight just screaming and crying. And like I said, human bodies apparently are not meant to handle that, because after a while my body just sort of freaked out, and I started like projectile vomiting everywhere, which that was a mess to clean up later. That sucked. But it just, one, obviously not comfortable to be vomiting, but it's just weird to like start vomiting when you're not sick. And it's not like I ate like really bad KFC or something, Heck, I think I had Wendy's earlier that day. I know there's not anything wrong with the Wendy's, and heck, at that point I was like, what? I think it was like 7 hours or so into that recording session. But yeah, I just was crying and screaming and laughing at like yelling volume levels, and then my body couldn't handle it anymore, and I just started vomiting. And everything that it possibly could come out of me came out of me. I vomited and vomited and vomited, and it was like really high velocity too. Like, holy shit! Like my body was like freaking the fuck out, and then I was just sort of, after puking, my body still wanted to keep puking, but there was nothing left to puke, and then I just felt really, really exhausted and had to lay down for like 20 minutes or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just saying, maybe moderation is key when it comes to things. So whether you guys go to the gym or cry, moderation. Yeah. Should read book. I still haven't actually started reading it either. Fuck. Let's see, page 502, 4 Beasts from Below, Daniel 7. Page 503, The Writing of the Wall, base Daniel 5. Page 506, Lion Taming, base Daniel 6. Page 511, A Pair of Queens. pretty sure we already read that. I don't know. I didn't. I don't remember, man. Page 516, Persian Politics. Esther's chapter 2, verse 19, chapter 3, verse 15. Page 5 or 20. I'm pretty sure I already read this. I don't know. Alright, I was over in the Jesus area. Wow. How many more? Oh my god, there's several pages still. Where was I? Okay, page 586. See, my memory kind of works. Calling the 12, based on Luke chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. Matthew chapter 9, verses 9 through 13. Chapter 10, verse 1 through 8. John chapter 1, verse 35 through 51. Definitely want to get that KFC. Reading first. It's getting late. I need to go to sleep to go to work. I'll probably play a little Brotato later. Page 595. Miracles. I already read that too? Wow, I can't remember anything. 600 Living Water, John 4. Page 603, Unwelcome. Luke chapter 4, 14, 28, Isaiah 61. Okay. Page 604. Up on the Roof. Based Mark chapter 2, verse 1 through 12. Page 608, Healing at the Pool. John chapter 5, verses 1 through 9. Page 609, Dinner with Sinners, based on Matthew chapter 9, verse 9 through 13. Chapter 12, verse 9 through 14. Page 612, Sermon of Parables, based on Luke chapter 6, 6 verse 12. Chapter 17 through chapter 26. Or 46, 49. Page, Mark 4, 120. Matthew 5, 8. How about this? You guys know where... I'm just going to say the page numbers and the name of the story. I'm not going to read all the other stuff. Page 619. Storms. I don't need to say page every time. You guys know why I'm saying numbers. 622. Heart for Women. 624. A Death in the Family. Now I'm thinking about Batman. Stay focused. Page 627. A Mother's Faith. Page 629. A Hungry Crowd. Page 632. Walking on Water. Base 634. Based 630. Stay focused. Stop saying page. 634. Who am I? 636. Mountain Vision. 638. Tough Lessons. 644. Faith at First Sight. 647. A Good Neighbor. 649. Help from Martha. And now I'm thinking about Batman again. I actually enjoyed Batman vs. Superman. I thought it was a good movie. I still say it'd be cool if we had a Batman movie, like with Ben Affleck, and I want a baker's dozen villains. I want 13 villains. One of them I want to be Jeff Dunham. I want Jeff Dunham as the ventriloquist from Batman the Animated Series. Also, there's an anti-villain, anti-hero villain. More of a villain than a hero, but anti-villain, anti-hero called Reaper. How about we have him played by Willem Dafoe? And then we have the Reaper beat the fucking shit out of the Joker. I want Willem Dafoe to kill Jared Leto Joker in the movie. And I want like a dozen other villains. Who else would you have in there? You guys remember the Logan movie? Old Man Logan? What if you'd like redid that? It was like Old Man Deadpool, old Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, like old Deadpool taking care of an aging James McAvoy. I still think Bryan Cranston would be a good Mr. Sinister for an X-Men. Focus. 651, Lord's Prayer. 652, Finding Lost. 656, A Loving Father. 660, Jesus Wept. 663, A Children's Blessing. 665, 10 Sick Men. 667, Widow's Plea. 669, A Man in a Tree. Jesus' Final Days. 671, Woman with Oils. 673, Misguided Mothering. 674, Blind Bartimaeus. 676, Palm Sunday. 679, The Fruitless Fig. 681, Money Troubles. 685, Sheep and Goats. 687, Passover Problems. 691, The Lord's Supper. 695, On Trial. 699, Death Sentence. 703, Crucified. 709, Sealed Tomb. 713, Seeing Jesus Again. The Church is Born. 719, Waiting for the Spirit. 722, Tongues on Fire. 727, Stand Up for Jesus. 732, A Grave Lie. 733, Prison Break. 737, The Stoning. Page 739. Yes, I was thinking about that 70s show. I'm sorry. 739, Stranger on Gaza Road. Based on... What if in the elderly Deadpool movie, you also had an elderly Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but he was insane and eating people? Wait, why are we making Spider-Man into a cannibal? Because then the Punisher will fight him? Is he still old at this point? Because then we had old Frank Castle. I don't know. I didn't think that far ahead. It's a random idea, man. Where were we? 741, Peter as the Rock. Yep, I was thinking about a certain actor named The Rock. 745, A New Menu. 749, Death to the Tyrant. 754, Words to the Church, A Blinding Light. 757, The New Paul. 759, Escape in a Basket. 764, Foreign Assignment. 767, Silent Sorcerer. 771, Lystra Ups and Downs. 774, The Greek Divide. 776, Jerusalem Council. 779, The Next Journey. 784, Earthquake. 788, Trouble in Thessalonica. 792, Corinth Court. 795, Ephesian Mob. 799, Falling Asleep. 801, Under Arrest. 803, Paul's Trial. 805, Bound for Rome. 808, Prison Pen Pals. 812, Fight the Good Fight. 814, The Final Letters. 816, The Final Days. And 819, Bible Book Index. Okay, now to actually read the book. At least most of the pages don't have a ton of text, and they're mainly just focused on being pictures, because it's basically the Bible being told as a comic book. In the beginning, based on Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 2, there was nothing except God. Day 1, God's Spirit moved through the void. Then God spoke, "Let there be light." Day 2, then God separated the waters of the nothingness into the moisture and clouds of the sky above, and the drops and waves of the ocean below. God named the sky heavens. Day 3, God named the lower waters the sea. He gathered together the waters of the sea, exposing dry ground. He named the dry land earth. On this land he made grass, and flowers and trees. He made them with seeds, so they could grow more grass, and flowers and trees. The fruitful earth was a place of beauty. Day 4, then God fashioned the sun, the moon, and the stars to light the earth, and he set them in the heavens to mark the days, seasons, and years. Day 5, God said, "Let the waters be filled with living creatures." Is that a picture of an orca? Is that a dolphin? That's like a whale, and that's a turtle. You're getting distracted. God said, "Let the birds fly through the sky," and the open sky above the earth was filled with every kind of flying bird. Be fruitful and fill the earth, God said, as he blessed the living creatures of the sea and sky. Just looking at the orcas, I'm thinking about orca VTubers. God knew that it was good. Day 6. Then God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures. And God made all kinds of animals. Wild ones, tame ones, even those that crawl on the ground. I'm looking at the picture here and I'm like, you remember the old Where's Waldo books? What if you made a Where's Waldo game, but it was an FPS? Then again, I remember a lot of those Where Waldos, like sometimes you would see stuff in the... Like if you were just... I know a lot of times you'd be focused on like looking for Where's Waldo, but there'd be stuff going on in the backgrounds of those books that you're like, what the fuck's happening? Like I remember one that was like next to an ocean and stuff, and there was a rowboat, and there was a dude being pulled out of the boat by an octopus, and I'm like, you just see a guy in a bunch of tentacles, and I'm like, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going. Stay focused. Then God created the first man, Adam, and the first woman, Eve. They were the greatest of all God's creations, because he made them in his own image, to be a reflection of what he is like. God made Adam and Eve with souls that would live forever, and he planned for the people to rule and live in harmony with everything on earth. God looked at everything that he had made, and he knew that it was all very, very good. Day 7. And on the 7th day God rested. God showed Adam and Eve the beauty and fruitfulness of the garden they lived in. He told them, you may eat from every tree except one, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from that tree, you will die. Tempted in the garden, based on Genesis chapter 3. Look, Adam, the little bird comes when I call. God is good to us. He has given us everything. Everything except fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Yes, that is forbidden. But Eve wanders, and one day she goes to the tree and gazes at the forbidden fruit. Satan, in the form of a serpent, tempts Eve. Are you sure God said not to see it, said eat the fruit? Oh yes, if we even touch it, we will die. Oh, you won't die if you touch it, see? And if you eat it, you'll be just wise. You'll be wise, just like God. You're right, and if this fruit will make me wise, surely there's no harm in taking just one bite. Adam, it tastes delicious, and it will make you wise. But the forbidden fruit has far different effects than the serpent promised. Suddenly, Adam and Eve realize they have disobeyed God. Their innocence is taken away as well. We're not wise. We're just naked. Cover yourself with these leaves. We must hide. In the stillness of the garden, God comes to Adam and Eve. How did you know you were naked? Have you eaten the fruit I told you not to eat? I only ate it because the woman you gave me handed it to me. The serpent you created tricked me. Because you disobeyed me, you must leave this beautiful garden from now on. You'll have to work hard to survive. God makes clothes for Adam and Eve out of animal skins and sends away. You know, like there's so much stuff I can comment on the entire Bible, but I'm already getting distracted enough as it is with like Where's Waldo and shit and Dungeons and Dragons that I don't need to be talking about philosophy of, you know, the Bible, because I would never stop talking. And I'm already getting distracted enough. I'm just trying to just read the book without commentary. Look, a flaming sword blocks the entrance to the garden. Now we can never go back. Where can we go? What can we do? God's promise is salvation. Perfect unity between God and his beloved creation is now broken for all time. Adam and Eve are forced to create a new life out of their knowledge and shame. But already God has a plan to redeem his creation. God promises that one day he will send a savior for his people. Like, I feel the constant urge to want to comment on shit. But like, I know I don't have time to do that. Why does this guy look stoned in this picture? Main point, you should probably buy this book. I mean, it's not really a replacement for, you know, a normal King James version of the Bible. But, you know, it's at least a different way. But it's just like there's so much stuff I want to comment on. But at the same time, it's like, just saying. interesting stuff. I'm going to stop because it's already been like an hour and a half. And I'm hungry. So, this is Lunar D8 signing out. I'm going to go to KFC. So tired. Bye, everybody.